changed so little, hasn't it,
Yeah.
since it first took place in 1825, and there it is, magnificent. The Windsor Greys became a fixture during the reign of Queen Victoria and Edward VII, entering the Golden Gates. But Alex, you and on the first day you were talking about how important it was to the royal family. It cemented their popularity. That's what it was. That's why it was introduced, and it proved an amazing success.
Yeah, at the time I think popularity was waning, and they felt it was a great opportunity for people to get up close to the royals, and it certainly is, because in this, the open carriages, they're not behind windows and doors, really is great accessibility. And I have to say, the King and Queen are looking wonderful. I absolutely love that outfit, and after yesterday's soaring temperatures, the ladies wearing white is very sensible.
Very sensible, yes.
And in that first carriage alongside the King and Queen, the Lord Cavendish of Furness and Lady Cavendish of Furness.
Yes, his wife Grania, and they hail from Cumbria. Apparently they live in a magnificent estate that overlooks Morecambe Bay.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah,
what a lovely part of the world that is as well. So they're a long way from home, but they'll no doubt have some magnificent vistas, and very well turned out as well. Of course, they will be going into an air-conditioned box. I don't expect it's quite as stuffy in the royal box as it is across the rest of the racecourse, but everybody enjoying their journey up the mile. And the horses behaving themselves a bit easier on the horses today. It's been scorchingly hot. So, of course, what happens is they actually drive from Windsor Castle to meet the carriages, apparently, Jim, in the park. And that route through Windsor Park is lined with people, and people enjoying just trips out. Some probably aren't really expecting to see this amazing sight, so it'll be very surprising for them. So the second carriage, Sheikh Hamad bin Abdullah Al Thani.
Yes, absolutely. The Al Thani family is so important to Ascot. One of their businesses is Kipco, which of course sponsors a Kipco Champions meeting later in the year, and who have we got there? Alongside him,
the
we've got Marchioness of Lansdowne, great friend of Queen Camilla's, and officially the Queen's companion, and also goddaughter to Laura Lopez, who is Queen Camilla's daughter from her previous marriage.
And then we also have the Earl of Caledon and the Countess of Caledon.
And the Countess of Caledon, who hail from Tyrone in Northern Ireland.
Oh, lovely. And then in the third carriage, this is a very racing carriage, isn't it? The Lord Bamford, Lady Bamford, and Mr. and Mrs. Willie Mullins, Jackie Mullins.
Well, can you imagine what's going in there? Characters we know pretty well from racing, but to my knowledge, the Bamfords don't have horses with Willie Mullins. I wonder if that might change today. But actually, I'm surprised Willie's in there, because I thought after Reaching High wasn't in the first four the other day, he might have been in the Tower, but no.
Well, I wonder, Jim, if Reaching High, that the maybe other trainers will be saying, you don't need Willie to train that, and he'll be like, Lord and Lady Bamford, you need to send me a horse.
And of course, the Bamfords have a runner in our first race.
Yes, indeed, yeah, big race horse owners. Back to the first carriage again, but actually in the fourth carriage, interestingly, we've got Lord and Lady Lloyd Webber, huge racing fans. Well, certainly Madeline Lloyd Webber is, and Andrew Lloyd Webber, I think, goes along for the ride. Yes,
he does. I think he's very proud of what his wife Madeline has done with their wonderful stud. And of course, the Lloyd Webbers, good friends of the royal family, and Andrew Lloyd Webber composed the official anthem for the King's coronation.
Wow, well, fascinating. And of course, the Right Honourable the Lord Benyon and Lady Benyon.
Yes, Richard Benyon is actually the current Lord Chamberlain. He'd just been appointed that position, or about six months ago. And Lord Chamberlain, what does that do? Well, he supervises all the departments which support and give advice to the Crown.
Okay, so an important role, and probably a very significant one as well. And of course, a lot of these guests have taken this ride in the past, but always a great honour. And apparently when they have lunch, there are cars waiting. They get in the cars, and you don't know until that moment whether you've been invited into the carriages or not. And it is withheld from us as well. We don't find out until pretty late on in the day who's going to be in there.
12 o'clock noon. And someone sent me a cheeky message the other day because I made reference to a hat.
Oh, yes.
A porter bonnet.
Oh, yes,
but, you know, I'm doing this job. I'm lucky enough to do this job. I have to know a little bit about it. And I didn't realise Ascot has its own sort of millinery society.
Of course.
And they've launched 10 hats for Fashion Week this week.
All right.
Yeah, in conjunction, for Royal Ascot Week. And I was looking at yours, and the nearest I can come to it is one that's styled Wildcat.
I'll take that, Jim.
Will
take
you?
that.
You don't mind that one?
Well, occasionally I think we've all got a bit of that inside us. But yes, Wildcat, I'll take that. But they are incredibly unique, and I think it is very hard to pigeonhole a certain style of hat, isn't it? Because nowadays anything goes.
Except one.
Oh, okay.
Well, I haven't seen this week the hat I described to you the other day, and the reasons for its description.
The porter bonnet.
Queen Victoria, she didn't found it, but she made it popular. The porter bonnet, designed so the wearer didn't have to see unwanted prying male eyes.
That's an interesting one. Maybe I will speak with the stylist for next year. Right, anyway, just as they make their way up the track as well, and you can see everybody behaving beautifully, the crowds flocked there. Since the 1750s, the royal family have attended this meeting regularly, and we mentioned what a great boost that has been. And there have been very few breaks in that time. In 2001, it was the state opening of Parliament, and they missed 2 days. 2 days. So I should think that would have had a very different feel to it, because when they come into the paddock behind us here, and actually a huge security presence as well, as you could imagine, but everyone just wants to welcome the royal family and their guests into the paddock, and they usually get 3 cheers as well.
So it goes back, Alex, to where you started with all this again, doesn't it? I mean, it became a fixture in a bid to show the royal family to the public, to see how popular they were. They were immensely popular, and that hasn't changed in 200 years either, certainly not with the people who attend here.
And Jim, you've been coming to Royal Ascot for many a year, and I would have
Since 1980, yeah.
1980, wow. I think I'm not far behind you. No, 80.
You're not old enough.
No, maybe 1990.
Right, okay.
Early 1990s. But even though we're here in a working capacity, the hairs stand up on the back of your neck when you see this royal procession. And when they come into the winners' enclosure, into the paddock here as well, it's still a brilliant sight. I don't think you'd ever tire of it.
Well, clearly the public don't. I mean, they're here in the droves. The crowds have been up this week. You can wear, in the royal enclosure, gentlemen are expected to wear morning attire, but you can wear military uniform, that's allowed, or traditional
national dress.
National dress, that's allowed. And of course, ladies have always wanted to dress up, the majority of them.
It was great to hear actually that some of the enclosures in the middle of the track, you're not required to dress up to the degree of, say, the racegoers in the royal enclosure. However, people want to dress up. They want to go to Royal Ascot, don the bonnets and the wildcat hats. Here we go, the national anthem. There you go, the national anthem, always at the 1 furlong marker, so that gives us an indication as to how long the national anthem takes. It takes a furlong, Jim. A furlong.
Well, a good racing pace, that's at what, about 13 seconds?
13 seconds, there you go. Yeah, no, slightly longer than that, but it was brilliant. Everybody here doffing their caps and cheering the national anthem. And in a moment, I should think that this amphitheatre will be set alight again, because they will, in just a minute or two, be coming into the paddock here as well. And I tell you what, remember the occasion when Estimate was the first horse to win the Gold Cup for a reigning monarch, and the late Queen Elizabeth II showed, I think, a delight on her face that everybody can relate to.
Well, it's, the race course she first attended at the first meeting after the war, after it reopened after the war. It wasn't the royal meeting either. May 21st, 1945, that was her first visit, age 19. So she had a very long association with it.
Yeah, she did, and it's a tough old game, the owner-breeder situation. You've got to be very, very patient, and she certainly was that. And of course, we're seeing estimates offspring racing now, and it's good to see that as well. It won't be too long before the carriages come into the paddock, and once again thronged around it, the many race goers, and there's some spectacular looking hats. Here you go, the Windsor Greys just first coming in, and as we've mentioned across the week as well, the lead horse of the King's Carriage is a wonderful Windsor Grey called Icon. They match the riders to the horses. And some of these horses, they've actually had a little clip because it's been so warm. They've just given them a clip to remove their thicker coats so they're able to cope with the warm temperatures that the country is enjoying. And actually, they just do look a little bit cooler, Jim, than they have the last couple of days, which is lovely for the horses because it's a long week.
It is, yes. They did get quite stirred up. I worked with you on this on Wednesday, and a lot of them were very warm, but touch wood, they've taken it very well. Yeah,
as Harry Herbert was telling us yesterday, last year they did have one of the Cleveland Bays get a little overwrought in the paddock, and thankfully, as it stands at the moment, they all seem to be taking it in their merry stride. I can't imagine how long it takes to be cleaning all of this equipment for them to look as wonderful as they do. And these horses are turned out so beautifully, very neat manes as well. I'm always impressed with that, Jim.
I know. I mean, I know you're interested in horses per se, not just race horses, and you've been remarking on these as long as I've known you. But I tell you what I think is also a great commitment to racing. The King announced this year he would, attend all 5 days. I think a lot of the public didn't expect him to do that.
No, it's brilliant to see, and actually it's always reflected by the royal standard above the grandstand. And a little earlier we had the Union flag flying, and then as soon as His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen arrived, they raised the royal standard. So you always know when they've gone, Jim, because they bring that flag back down again. But anyway, we had the 3 cheers again as the carriage arrives into the front of the weighing room. Gives all the participants, the jockeys, a great look into the carriages as well. And next to the weighing room is the winner's connection box. And Jim, that is the place where everyone involved in the 5-day fixture would like to be.